global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Global Happiness Today YouTube channel. This is very interesting, and it looks like top politicians are no longer keeping quiet. They're literally calling out the president Bola Ahmed Tinubu over a lot of issues, and apparently there's more that meets the eyes. In fact, they're warning him that right now Nigeria is at the brink of collapse. To make matters interesting, they're warning him about Wike and the FCT minister. Don't forget, some few hours ago, the likes of Dan Iwanyanwu and the likes of Ikenga have been screaming and shouting. If there's anyone that is showing disregard whatsoever, it is actually Wike over the agreement reached some few months back between the field crisis between Fubara and Wike. Now things are getting to a head, and Dele Momodu, one of the top politicians, PDP, and a brother, so to speak, a kinsman to the president from Southwest, have decided to write an open letter to him, which had generated a lot of reaction. In fact, what he wrote is a boost. In the moment you're going to find out what it is he wrote, Reno Omokri, who happened to be now the newest friend of the president. In fact, he had decided to make himself the friend of Mr. President, and even literally become his media person by always populating and encouraging and supporting the policies, whether good or bad, of the president. Nobody knows exactly why that is so, but while that is going on, he has decided to respond to Dele Momodu's open letter. We're going to give you all of that as well, and Dele Momodu have also decided to respond. It's those for the past few hours actually. But before we go to the newspaper, kindly subscribe to our channel by clicking on the right subscribe button. Beside it, you will see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as you update our channel on YouTube. Let's start with what Dele Momodu, the PDP stalwart and a very good friend of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president of Nigeria, has got to say. Now, according to him, he wrote, and he titled it "Urgent Message for President Tinubu." He said, "Your Excellency, I have decided to write this open letter to you as a concerned friend and brother. As you are aware, I am a member of opposition, but you and I have had a long history together. I owe you only one thing: truth. It is very obvious that the first thing that takes flight in the presidential villa is the truth. The reason is simple. Some Nigerians are experts in hijacking men and women of power. The deification process is often swift and irreversible. I'm writing you today not because I expect you to act on my suggestions, but to put it on record that someone gave you the true picture of things. I am also hoping that some of your friends will read and interpret to you in a sober moment." He said, 1. Nigeria is in big trouble. Our economy has virtually collapsed, and what's the way out? You have been wasting too much money at a time that requires absolute frugality. Please stop this reckless propensity of wasting scarce resources, purchasing presidential jets, building outlandish monuments, distributing cash as palliatives, and so on and so forth, as they are signs of a failed and careless government. If you can curb the excessive spending of your government, you will free up a lot of resources for serious development. 2. I believe you are filtering away our resources because you are desperately craving a second term. But the best assurance of a second term is performance. Nigerians are not expecting you to turn water into wine, but they don't also want you to turn their wines into water. Here are my tips. Invest in vocational skills for our highly talented youth who can demonstrate their capacity for hard work. Invest heavily in local agriculture. Upgrade our institutions of learning. Giving cash to politicians to distribute is unhealthy and unhelpful. It is the height of cluelessness. 3. In the name of God, beware of those hero worshippers at the National Assembly who have turned you into God. Ndume is your best friend. Listen to him. There's danger ahead though. Number 4, he said, you must enforce discipline as a leader. Your new disciple, Wike, has publicly disrespected you in the Fubara matter. You need to sanction him before he throws Nigeria into total chaos. Of course, Nigerians have reacted to that, and one of such people who decided to react was Reno Omokri. He didn't sit down well with him, but just to make matters interesting, Daily Momodu have decided to address the Reno Omokri's matter. This is what he told Reno Omokri very quickly. He said, and I read. He said, "I have just read Mr. Reno Omokri's response to my earlier article titled Urgent Message for President Tinubu. Since I am not a fan of fake economic theories that bear no positive impact on society and the citizens, I won't waste my readers' time on trading words with Reno. I will only make the following observations. What happened to my brother Reno that he feels he must defend many of the most outrageous policies of Tinubu government? I believe Reno is too brilliant to waste his talent on a government that can't even defend itself in good conscience." He said, number two, when did Reno become a born-again Tinubuist, that he has forcefully taken over the jobs of Ajure and Onanuga combined? Otherwise, he would have known the difference between economics and economy. Economics deals mainly with textbook theories, while the economy deals with the practical and realistic conditions of the people on day-to-day basis. All the economic ranting and ratings quoted by Reno have no meaning in Nigeria of today. No textbook can eviscerate or assuage the unprecedented anger and suffering of Nigerians. Our country is hemorrhaging to death, while pseudo-economists are regaling us with an over-romanticized magic of IMF and World Bank. Number three, what enablers like Reno and company are doing by their blind support for a government that needs honest truth is reminiscent of the story of Maria Antoinette, the bride of King Louis the 16th rather, who told the lumpen proletariat in France to eat cake if bread is too expensive for them. In a majestic delusion of grandeur and provocative ignorance, the queen did not know that bread and cake are of the same origin and that the latter is actually more expensive. What happened next? Revolution swept away most members of the French privilegists. Today, Nigerians are substituting tomatoes with watermelon to cook food. I will never wish such evil to befall Nigeria, my dear beloved country. But prevention is oftentimes better than cure. I pray President Tinubu will somehow arrest this obvious drift to perdition. Many Nigerians have been reacting to this very strongly. My colleague is in the house. I would like to discuss this very extensively. But let's quickly take one or two, feel the pulse of Nigerians quickly. This one here says, attention Uncle Dele Momodu. Uncle Dele, as much as you felt it was necessary to make some observations about Reno and his notice me bogus economic ideas for a man who led a protest to embarrass on the streets of London, those of us that have very high regards for you feel so disappointed that you can stoop so low as to responding to anything coming from a stomach infrastructure like fake Tinubu supporter like Reno Omokri. You fall our hands, sir. No ordinary man or woman on the street of Nigeria today will ever take anything from Reno seriously enough for a response or reporter, let alone your humble self. If you choose to play the kind of alright sir politics that most people do in Nigeria today, Reno will be crawling on his belly to gain access to your office. As unpopular and bereft of ideas as Tinubu government is today in Nigeria, I can credit them with the fact that they know whose opinion to take seriously, even if they won't act on them. And I can assure you that Reno's opinion is not one of them. They know him for who he is. He's a psychophant who is so bad in psychophancy trade that, okay, alright, a whole lot of them are literally calling out Reno. My colleague is in the house. What's your take on this drama unfolding right now?
I think I go in line with what that responder had said about Dele Momodu, a man so reputable for his stand on democratic issues, having to, respond to the person of Reno Omokri. Omokri has lost virtually everything Nigerian had for him. He's no more the man we knew. I thought he was a man of principles. That's why So many people don't even go to look at his tweet. His news comes up on any paper. Nobody cares to look at it. Why? Because he has lost everything. He thought maybe doing all of that he was going to secure an appointment from Bola Tinubu, but it doesn't work that way. You understand? Maybe he had gotten a secret media job from Bola Tinubu, but I must say, just like the first respondent has said, Dele Momodu is too reputable and too disciplined to respond to statements made by the likes of Reno Omokri. But be that as it may, he took out time to talk about some of the things that Bola Tinubu had done. And I feel that Bola Tinubu should look in that direction because gradually he's losing everything about Nigeria. Nigerians have been so shocked with some of the economic policy he had rolled out, though some of them are perennial, they are long term. But I feel that he should care more about the economic needs of Nigeria, at least for now. Keep aside some of those infrastructural elephant projects that he's intending to settle the economy first. Then we can look that in that direction. That's just my take on this.
All right, for want of time, let's go wrap it up. Let's meet in our conversation. What's your take? Do you agree with what Dele Momodu has is literally in an open letter telling President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to act now before it gets too late? Nigeria, he said, is at the brink of collapse. Or do you think Reno was correct? Even the bogus economic theories, he's literally saying that will work and Nigeria should be patient. Let's
Global have things today. We communicate, we analyze,